with the same enthusiasm a shark has for a leaking life raft. Subject: Material breach of service agreement, Langston Logistics Body. See attached. The VP of Ops just attempted a summary termination via Slack. No 30-day notice. No board resolution. He is also demanding credentials that are contractually intellectual property of my firm until the handover period is complete. Please advise. I hit send. Then I sat back and took a sip of my lukewarm coffee. It tasted like battery acid and victory. Around me, the office buzzed with the usual morning chaos. Phones ringing, printers jamming, the low murmur of people complaining about the weather. I had no idea that the digital ground beneath their feet had just shifted. Chad walked by about 20 minutes later. He stopped, looking confused to see me still sitting there. "Did you get my message?" he asked, his voice loud enough to turn heads in the cubicles nearby. I looked up, my expression pleasantly blank. "I did, and I have forwarded it to my legal counsel for review," I said calmly. "As I am a vendor, not an employee. Any changes to our service agreement need to go through the proper legal channels." His face went a shade of red that clashed with his blue suit. "I am the VP of Operations. I am the channel. I want those passwords, Lauren, now." "Those passwords control the encrypted archive of the investor relations database," I said. "My insurance policy prohibits me from handing over root access to unauthorized personnel. And currently, Chad, you are unauthorized," he spluttered. Actually spluttered. "I'm your boss. You're my client's representative," I corrected. "There's a difference." "We'll see about that," he snarled and stormed off toward HR. I watched him go. Then quietly I minimized my active windows. I didn't shut anything down, that would be sabotage, and I'm a professional. But I did pause a few non-essential maintenance scripts. Specifically, the script that clears the cache on the order processing dashboard every hour, and the script that suppresses the printer low toner alerts for the entire third floor. Petty? Maybe. Effective? Absolutely. Within an hour, the complaints started. "Hey, is the system slow for anyone else?" Someone yelled from the logistics pit. "My dashboard is freezing." "Why is the printer screaming at me?" Another voice chimed in. I sat there, typing away at a documentation file, looking the picture of productivity. I wasn't fixing the issues. I wasn't even acknowledging them. Under the terms of my contract, I am required to maintain system uptime, yes. But desktop support and minor glitch resolution require a ticket, and nobody was putting in tickets because they were too busy panicking. Chad came storming out of HR about 45 minutes later. He looked furious. Sarah, the HR manager, looked like she wanted to crawl under her desk. She knew. She had probably pulled my file and realized that firing me was legally equivalent to firing the electric company. You can't just tell them to leave. You have to disconnect the service, pay the final bill, and hope the lights don't go out before you find a generator. "You think you're smart," Chad hissed as he passed me. "I'm expensive, Chad. There's a difference." He went into his office and slammed the door. The glass walls rattled. I checked my phone. A text from Marcus. "Drafting the letter now. Do not hand over anything. Do not leave the premises unless security escorts you. If they touch your equipment, call the police." "This is going to be fun," I smiled. Fun. The dashboard lag was getting worse. I could see the server load spiking on my secondary monitor. The cache was filling up, bogging down the queries. It wouldn't crash the system, not yet, but it was like driving a Ferrari with the parking brake on. Everything was sluggish. Sticky. Frustrating. I could have fixed it with 2 keystrokes. Enter. Run. Instead, I opened a new tab and started browsing ergonomic chairs for my home office. If I was going to be fired, I might as well be comfortable. The phone on my desk rang. It was Robert, the CIO. "Lauren," he sounded breathless. "Chad just called me. He's screaming about insubordination. He says he wants you gone by end of day. He can want a pony, Robert. Doesn't mean he's getting one. He's threatening to cut your network access from his end." I actually laughed out loud. From his end? Robert, does he even know where the server room key is? No, but he's calling external IT support. He's trying to bring in a strike team to lock you out. "Let him try," I said, my voice dropping an octave. "My access is hard-coded into the API keys for the automated warehousing bots. If he cuts my user profile without migrating the keys first, robots stop moving. The warehouse freezes." There was a long silence on the other end. "I didn't know that," Robert whispered. "That's because you pay me to know it, Robert. Tell Chad good luck with his strike team. I'll be here." I hung up. The office lights flickered, just a coincidence, a power grid blip, but the timing was perfect. It felt like the building itself was growling. Chad wanted a war. He was bringing a knife to a drone fight, and I had the remote control. At 1:00 p.m. exactly, the email landed. Marcus doesn't do ish. When Marcus says early afternoon, he means 13:00:00. I was CC'd, of course, so was Chad. So was Robert, the CIO. And crucially, so was the company's general counsel, a man named Henderson, who I had only spoken to twice in 11 years, both times to sign my renewal. The subject line was simple: notice of breach and cease and desist unauthorized termination of vendor services. I opened it just to admire the formatting. It was a thing of beauty. Bold text where it needed to be. Citations of the Illinois Civil Code. References to specific paragraphs in my contract that I knew by heart. but which Chad had clearly treated like terms of service for a candy-crushing app. Dear Mr. Langston, it began. We are in receipt of your unauthorized demand for immediate termination and surrender of intellectual property. It went on to explain, in polite but devastating legalese, that 1. I was not an at-will employee. 2. Terminating the master service agreement required a board vote and 30 days written notice for cause, or 90 days for convenience. 3. Demanding administrative passwords to proprietary architecture without a verified transition plan constituted a security risk and a potential breach of the company's own investor compliance protocols. 4. If Chad touched my desk, my laptop, or my person, we would sue him personally for tortious interference. It was a legal sledgehammer wrapped in velvet. I sat back and watched the glass office. I saw Chad's notification ping. I saw him stop pacing. I saw him lean in toward his monitor. I expected him to pale. I expected him to pick up the phone and call legal. Instead, he laughed. I saw his head throw back. He typed something rapidly, hit enter with a flourish, and spun his chair around. A moment later, the reply hit my inbox. From Chad Langston to Marcus Vane-esque, Lauren C.C., Henderson, Robert subject, notice of breach, this is cute. A lawyer letter for a temper tantrum. Lauren is a contractor. Contractors get cut when they don't perform. I'm the VP of Ops and I say she's out. She has until 5 p.m. to vacate or security will remove her. We have a new team starting Monday. Keep the legal threats for someone who cares. I stared at the screen. My mouth actually fell open. It wasn't just arrogance, it was a fundamental disconnection from reality. He had just put in writing that he was ignoring general counsel and a binding contract because he said so. My phone buzzed, it was Marcus. Did he really just reply, this is cute, to a formal breach notice? I typed back, he thinks he's in a movie, Marcus. He thinks he's the Wolf of Wall Street. He's going to be the Wolf of Unemployment, Marcus replied. I'm calling Henderson directly. Sit tight. Robert, the CIO, walked out of his office. It looked like he had aged 10 years since the morning. He walked straight to Chad's office, bypassing the assistant. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I could see the body language. Robert was pleading, gesturing with his hands, pointing at the ceiling, the metaphorical board, presumably. Chad was dismissive, waving his hand, pointing at his chest. Robert came out 2 minutes later, shaking his head. He walked over to my desk. He won't listen, Robert said. His voice low, he thinks you're bluffing. He thinks the contract is just guidelines. He's going to crash the compliance server, Robert, I said softly. The end-of-month audit scripts run automatically tonight. If he locks me out or if his new team tries to patch the server without the encryption keys I hold, the data corrupts. I told him, Robert said, rubbing his temples. I told him we need you for the audit. He said, I'll have my nephew look at it. He knows Python. His nephew, I repeated. Robert, tell me you're joking. Please tell me you're joking. He said he's a coding wizard. He's 19. I looked at my screens. The blue light reflected in my glasses. I saw 11 years of architecture. Layers of security, redundancy, and optimization that I had built brick by digital brick. And Chad was going to hand it to a teenager because he didn't like my tone. Okay, I said. Well, Robert, I'm legally obligated to stay at my post until the contract is validly terminated or I am physically removed. So I'm going to sit here and document everything. I'm sorry, Lauren, Robert said. I'm calling the chairman of the board, but he's in the Maldives. It might take a day to reach him. We might not have a day, I said. Just then, the first real crack appeared. A junior analyst from finance popped his head over my cubicle wall. Hey, Lauren, the shared drive is asking for a credentials verification token. I can't save the quarterly projections. I looked at Chad's office. He was on the phone, laughing, feet up on the desk. I can't help you, Kevin, I said loudly enough for the room to hear. I've been ordered to stand down from all administrative tasks. But I can't save the file, Kevin said, panic creeping into his voice. If I close the window, I lose 4 hours of work. Take it up with Chad, I said, pointing a pen at the glass office. He's the new IT director, apparently. Kevin looked at Chad, then at me, then back at his screen. I opened a new text document. Log entry 1345, Finance Department reporting access token failures. Cause, token refresh script requires manual authorization which I am currently prohibited from providing. Potential data loss high. I saved the file. I named it the Chad Chronicles Vol 1, TXT. The air conditioner kicked on, a low rumble that sounded like a beast waking up in the basement. The temperature in the server room was rising. Not literally, the cooling was automated, but metaphorically the heat was on, and Chad was sitting in the sauna, wearing a wool suit, thinking it was a spa day. At 3:30 p.m., the new team arrived. It wasn't a team. It was 2 guys in hoodies who looked like they had just rolled out of a dorm room. A third guy in a polo shirt that said Geek Squad on it, though he had clearly tried to cover the logo with a piece of duct tape. Chad came out of his office to greet them like they were the Navy SEALs. Gentlemen, welcome to the front lines. He walked them past my desk without looking at me. This is the server access point, he said, gesturing to the main terminal, my terminal's access point. We need to migrate the user database to this new cloud platform I bought. It's called Nebula Stream, much cheaper than the custom rig we have now. I froze. Nebula Stream? That was a freemium storage locker for indie game developers, not an enterprise-grade solution for a logistics firm handling medical supplies and hazardous materials tracking. Chad, I said. I didn't shout. I spoke with the calm authority of an air traffic controller telling a pilot he's about to land on a highway. You cannot migrate the database to a non-compliant server. It violates HIPAA and the DOT regulations. Ignore the noise, guys, Chad said, waving a hand at me. She's just upset she's being phased out. Just plug in and run the wizard. Run the wizard. I watched in horror as one of the hoodie guys, let's call him Hoodie A, plugged a USB drive into the console. Whoa, this system is ancient, Hoodie said. It's running a custom Linux kernel? Yeah, get rid of that, Chad said. We want Windows, make it user-friendly. I reached for my phone. I texted Robert. They are reimaging the production server. Stop them. Then I started typing. Fast. I wasn't hacking them. I wasn't fighting back. I was downloading the logs. I was capturing the exact moment the command was entered. I needed proof that I didn't do this. That when the system inevitably vomited its own guts out, it was because Chad ordered a lobotomy. Okay, initializing migration, Hoodie B said. Says there's a conflict with the archive do not touch directory. Override it, Chad said. We need a clean slate. Chad, I stood up. That directory contains the hash keys for the encrypted backups. If you override it, you lose the history. You lose the chain of custody. Security, can we get an escort? Chad yelled, looking toward the elevator. The security guard, an old guy named Earl who I've shared Christmas cookies with for 5 years, walked over slowly. He looked at me. Chad, you want me to remove Lauren? Earl asked, confused. She's disrupting critical operations, Chad declared. Earl looked at me. Miss Lauren, it's okay, Earl, I said, sitting back down. I'm just documenting. I won't say another word. Override confirmed, Hoodie said. The screen flickered. It started subtly. The big monitors on the wall in the logistics pit, the ones that show the real-time location of every truck in the fleet, blinked. Green dots turned yellow. Then they froze. Hey, the GPS is lagging, a dispatcher shouted. Then the dashboard turned gray. A spinning wheel of death appeared in the center. I can't see the trucks, another dispatcher yelled. I have a driver in a blizzard in North Dakota asking for routing, and I can't see him. Chad frowned. It's just the migration buffering. It'll come back. It didn't come back. Next, the phones. Our VoIP system is tied to the server bandwidth. If the server gets clogged with a massive, an optimized migration of terabytes of data, the voice packets get dropped. The ringing stopped. The room went eerily silent, followed immediately by the sound of 40 people saying, hello? Hello, are you there? At the same time, what did you do? Robert came running out of his office, his tie askew. We're upgrading, Chad shouted over the confusion. You have to break a few eggs to make an omelet. You didn't break eggs, you broke the phone lines. Robert screamed. I sat there. I watched my private console. The error logs were scrolling by so fast they were a blur of red text. Error, database lock, error, API timeout, error, integrity check failed. And then the piece de resistance, the billing system. The automated invoicing script tried to run at 4:00 p.m. It tried to pull data from the database that Hoodie was currently overriding. It couldn't find the data. So, following its protocol for missing data, it defaulted to null values. Somewhere in the cloud, hundreds of invoices were being generated for $0 and 0 cents and emailed to our biggest clients. I saw the outgoing mail queue spike. 500 emails sent. 1,000 emails sent. Chad, I said, breaking my silence. You just sent free invoices to Amazon, Walmart, and the Doody. Chad spun around. What? The billing script. It ran on an empty table. We just told our clients they owe us nothing for the last month of shipping. His face went from red to white in the span of a heartbeat. Stop it. Cancel it. I can't, I said, holding up my hands. I'm unauthorized. Remember, fix it. He screamed, spit flying. Fix it now. I need a signed work order, I said coolly. And a reinstatement of my contract, and an apology. I'll fire you. I'll sue you. You already fired me, Chad. My lawyer is going to have a field day with the fact that you overrode a safety protocol I warned you about in front of witnesses. I looked at Hoodie A. You might want to unplug that USB drive before you corrupt the boot sector. Hoodie A looked terrified. He yanked the drive out. The screens went black, all of them. The office plunged into darkness as the smart lighting system, also tied to the server, reset itself. In the gloom, only light came from the emergency exit signs and the glow of my laptop, which was running on its own battery, disconnected from the network, safe and sound. Oops, I whispered. Darkness is a powerful motivator. When the lights went out, the screaming started. Not fear screaming, but frustration screaming. Sales reps who lost calls, dispatchers who lost trucks, and one guy who I think just took the opportunity to yell hell no. Into the void without consequences. Emergency lights kicked on a buzz, casting the office in a sickly green hue. It's a reboot, Chad yelled, his voice cracking. Just a hard reboot. Everyone calm down. He was sweating. I could see the sheen of it on his forehead even in the dim light. He turned to the Geek Squad refugees. Get the power back on. Now. We didn't touch the power, Hoodie B whimpered. The lighting controller must have timed out when the server dropped. Well, override it. We don't know the password. I knew the password. It was Let There Be Light 01. I had said it myself 3 years ago. I sat in the glow of my laptop playing solitaire. Lauren, Chad growled, looming over my desk. Give them the lighting code. Is that a formal request for vendor services? I asked, not looking up from a black queen I was moving to a red king.